Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaivo Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraят. Shunvatam so Katha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha. हृद्यान्तोऽस्य यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहिस्मृतम् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 8, verse 64-65. Verse 64. Narad Uvacha Rajan kim dhyase dirgham mukhena parishusyata किं वा नारिष्यते कामो धर्मवार्थेन संयुतः. Synonyms. Narada the great sage Narada Muni said, Rajan, my dear king, Kim, what? Dhyayashe, thinking of, Dirgham, very deeply, Mukhena, with your face, Parishusyata, as if drying up, Kimba, whether, Na, not, Rishyate, been lost, Kamaha, sense gratification, Dharmaha, religious rituals, Va or Arthena, with economic development, Samyutaha, along with. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The great sage Narada inquired, My dear king, your face appears to be withering up, and you look like you have been thinking of something for a very long time. Why is that? Have you been hampered in following your path of religious rites, economic development, and sense gratification? Purport. The four stages of advancement of human civilization are religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and for some, the stage of liberation. Narada Muni did not inquire from the king about his liberation, but only regarding the state management, which is meant for advancement of the three principles religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification. Since those who engage in such activities are not interested in liberation, Narada did not inquire from the king about this. Liberation is meant for persons who have lost all interest in religious ritualistic ceremonies, economic development, and sense gratification. Verse 65. Rajovacha suto me balako brahman straineena karunatmana nirvasitah panchavarsa saha matra mahan kavihi. Synonyms. Rajovacha, the king replied, Sutaha, son, me, my, Balakaha, tender boy, Brahman, my dear Brahmana, Strainena, one who is too addicted to his wife, Akaruna Atmana, one who is very hard of heart and without mercy, Nirvasitaha is banished, Panchavarsa, although the boy is 5 years old, Saha with Matra, mother, Mahan, great personality, Kavihi, devotee. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The king replied, O best of the Brahmanas, I am very much addicted to my wife, and I am so fallen that I have abandoned all merciful behavior, even to my son, who is only 5 years old. I have banished him and his mother, even though he is a great soul and a great devotee. Purport. In this verse, there are some specific words which are to be understood very carefully. The king said that since he was very much addicted to his wife, he had lost all his mercy. That is the result of becoming too affectionate toward women. The king had two wives. The first wife was Suniti and the second was Suruchi. He was too attached to second wife, however, so he could not behave well with Dhruva Maharaj. That was the cause of Dhruva's leaving home to perform austerities. Although as a father, the king was affectionate toward his son, he minimized his affection for Dhruva Maharaj because he was too much addicted to the second wife. Now he was repenting that both Dhruva Maharaj and his mother Suniti were practically banished. Dhruva Maharaj went to the forest, and since his mother was being neglected by the king, she was therefore almost banished also. The king repented, having banished his boy, for Dhruva was only 5 years old, and a father should not banish his wife and children or neglect their maintenance. Repentant over his neglect of both Suniti and her son, he was morose, and his face appeared withered. According to Manusmriti, one should never desert his wife and children. In a case where the wife and children are disobedient and do not follow the principles of home life, they are sometimes given up. But in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, this was not applicable because Dhruva was very mannerly and obedient. Moreover, he was a great devotee. Such a person is never to be neglected. Yet the king was obliged to banish him. Now he was very sorry. End of purport. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'm seeking blessings from all the assembled Vaishnavas, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to read Srimad Bhagavatam to purify myself. I'll just summarize the slokas 64 and 65. I have taken notes from a lecture given by His Grace Radhasyam Prabhuji. So we see here in verse 64, Narada Muni, he just came to meet King Uttanapada. In 64, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that Narada Muni is not inquiring from the king about liberation because liberation is meant for persons who have lost all interest in religious ritualistic ceremonies, economic development, and sense gratification. So the 4 stages of advancement of human civilization are religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and for some, the stage of liberation. However, Narada Muni is not inquiring King Uttanapada about liberation. That is mentioned here in verse 64 and in 65. So, Narada Muni is asking very innocently Uttanapada about his moroseness. Narada Muni knows everything, but actually, even though he knows everything, still he's asking very innocently King Uttanapada about like why he is so sad. Because Narada Muni actually is trying to give a chance, the king a chance for self-analysis. The king has 2 wives, Suniti and Surji. The name Suniti signifies that she is a noble lady. Suniti never thought or did any ill to Surji. Prabhupada says Suniti was a great mother of a great devotee. Mother Suniti is a great example for devotees. In this material world, sometimes people do something bad to us, but instead of thinking bad about them or to pull their legs, we should always focus on how to purify our consciousness. Here, Uttanapad is repenting as he has banished Dhruva Maharaj and his mother, even though he is a great soul and a great devotee. In this verse, Srila Prabhupada is saying there are some specific words are used which are to be understood very carefully. So, few specific words can be strainena. The meaning of strainena is one who is too addicted to his wife, and akaruna atmana, one who is very hard of heart and without mercy. So, husband and wife can suggest each other whenever required. And the best example we can give here is about Mother Sita and Lord Sri Ram. So, when Mother Sita and Lord Ram were in the forest, Mother Sita once suggested Lord Ram that he should give the bow and arrow because it may make him violent and unnecessarily kill sometimes animals. Lord Rama listened to Mother Sita's suggestion, and at the same time he explained he's a Kshatriya and he's also looking after all living entities in the forest. So he cannot give up the bow and arrow. Dashrath Maharaj was also very attached to Kaikeyi. When she asked him for the two boons, Dashrath Maharaj could have suggested her why Lord Ram should be the king, but he could not because he was so attached to Kaikeyi that he was immediately, accepted the two boons. Another example, we can see how King Chitraketu was too attached to his one queen Kritaditi and neglected other queens. So King Chitraketu was so attached to Kritaditi only because he gave her a son. Actually, Angiramuni wanted to give spiritual bliss to Chitraketu, but he was not at all ready for that. Rather, he wanted some material happiness. So Angiramuni blessed him that he will have a son whose name will be Harsasoka, means the child will give both happiness and sorrow. Still, Chitraketu was ready for that. So we see like how the in from the scriptures also we are seeing examples how sometimes when they're too attached or addicted to their wives, like so many problems arise. In this material world, we are so attached to our children, parents, grandchildren, great grandchildren. We think that like they are our amsa, like they are our part, but actually, to whom all the jivas belong. All the jivas belong to Krishna because in Bhagavad Gita 15.7, Krishna himself says, Mamevam Sajiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, means the living entities are part and parcel of Krishna. When we put, for a very beautiful example, Prabhu gave in that lecture that when you put a signature on a paper, we think to whom the signature belongs. And does the signature belongs to pen or paper? Actually, the signature does not belong to any of them. The signature belongs to us. So the pen could be compared to father, and paper can be compared to mother, and the signature to the jiva or child. So they think the child belongs to them. Actually, the child belongs to Krishna. So we see this kind of attachment causes so many problems. Srila Prabhupada says attachment is the root cause of all miseries. This attachment is due to our bodily concept of life. We think my wife, my husband, my kid, but how long we can hold them? We can't hold them forever. So Bhagavatam says we should always do good to the jivas and should not harm them. Harming in the sense we should not be materialistic or be very attached to them and should not be hard-hearted. So King Dashrath, we can take again the example of King Dashrath. King Dashrath became hard-hearted due to attachment to Kaikeyi, and Kaikeyi became hard-hearted due to her attachment to Bharat Maharaj. Hard-hearted means we do bad things to some due to our attachment or addiction to some other person or some other, something else. And a very beautiful example is given that is about the bumblebee. The bumblebees are so strong that sometimes they can make hole in the stem of a tree. And the same bumblebee, when he drinks the honey from the lotus flower and become intoxicated and sleeps, then found itself trapped inside the lotus petals during night time because the petals are closed. So because it is so intoxicated, its determination gets lost and cannot even make a hole in the lotus petals. So if we develop material attachment, our determination will be finished. We will become weak-minded and will become victim of Maya. More we are attached for material things, determination towards Krishna will be finished. So because will be victim of Maya. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 44, Krishna says, Bhogeshwarya prasaktanam Taya parta chetasam Vavashayatmika buddhihi samadho na vidhiyate. In the minds of the translation of this shloka is, in the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Samadhi means fixed mind. The Vedic dictionary, the Nirukti, says, Samyak adhiyate ashmin atma tattva yathatmayam. When the mind is fixed for understanding the self, it is said to be in samadhi. Samadhi is never possible for persons interested in material sense enjoyment and bewildered by such temporary things. They are more or less condemned by the process of material energy. For conditioned souls to get agitated for opposite sex or money is not very surprising. So, in this material world, we see many times we get agitated like for opposite sex or for money, and for Prabhupada says for conditioned soul, it's not very surprising. Maya can impel us, but Maya cannot compel us. Like we are passing through a big shopping mall, and we're like we get attracted by the shopping mall. There's so many things, we should go inside. So that is called impel. But like this shopping mall, people from shopping mall, they are not coming to us. They are not like taking our money, or they are not they're pulling our hands. Come inside. That is called compel. So similarly, Maya can impel us, but Maya cannot compel us. So this is our problem, and we have to control our senses and mind. We should not allow our weakness to become wickedness. Haridas Thakur, he was neither weakness or wickedness. There are also examples in scriptures where weakness causes victory. Bharat Maharaj, how he was addicted to one deer in one life, and he became deer in the next life. Then he became Jada Bharat in another life, and he became the most victorious. So we can overcome raga and dvesha by surrendering to higher authority, that is the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. This is the result of attachment. Uttanapada was so attached to his beautiful wife Suruchi because he knows if I will disagree with her, I will not get sense gratification. And due to that weakness, he did so bad to his noble wife Suniti and son Dhruva Maharaj. Means he even did not say anything, like he was so attached to Suruchi, even did not say anything when his 5 years old Dhruva went to the forest. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 20, in the in the purport, it's in the last paragraph. Prabhupada has explained, while one is performing devotional service in the association of pure devotees in full Krishna consciousness, there are certain things which require to be vanquished altogether. The most important thing one has to surmount is weakness of the heart. It's very beautifully explained in the last paragraph of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 20. The first fall down is the weakness of heart. About the weakness of heart is mentioned. The first fall down is caused by the desire to lord it over material nature. Thus, one gives up the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord. We always want to lord it over the material nature. That is the first weakness. And the second weakness of the heart is that as one increases the propensity to lord it over material nature, he becomes attached to matter and the possession of matter. The problems of material existence are due to these two weaknesses of the heart. So, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 14, verse 23, the verse says, Katham vinaro maharsam dhrivata chetasa vinananda kalaya suddhaya dvaktya vinasayaha. The meaning of this verse is, if one's hairs do not stand on end, how can the heart melt? And if the heart does not melt, how can tears of love flow from the eyes? If one does not cry in spiritual happiness, how can one render loving service to the Lord? And without such service, how can the consciousness be purified? So, like in the summary, like if we become addicted to Krishna, we don't hate anyone. So we should develop our attachment instead of developing our attachment to wives or husbands or kids, parents. We should develop our attachment to Krishna. So all these material miseries will be like very negligible in front of us. And like the best thing is we don't hate anyone if we become addicted to Krishna. That is all my understanding from these two verses. I would like to stop here. Thank you again for giving me this opportunity to read Srimad Bhagavatam to purify myself.